Dad said, just keep on casting. There's a different association with the name Cordell. When people hear about the name Cordell, it's not, oh, you ain't going to get rid of me. It's like, man, I wish that I already got somebody else. But God took my brokenness. God took the things about me that were imperfect. God took my life and the things that everybody looked at me and said, no, I'm not only going to let it allow you to be in that church. I'm going to take that messed up life. I'm going to take that brokenness. I'm going to take that marred and scarred life, and I'm going to have you start your own church. And I'm going to have you start a better church. And I'm going to have you start a... God made great things. And the God is so amazing, has such a great sense of humor. You know, even in my church, so we're like, sweet, we get everything the apostles did. That's awesome. You know, but and then he put it to a parable where, you know what, there was people working that early, and he said, you know what, I'm going to pay you a penny for your work. And so they got the exact same pay. And a lot of us are paid amount. Do you know who he paid first? The ones who paid, but they're getting the exact same thing you're getting. And there when Jesus died on the cross, but I'm entitled to that blood. Because he said, now I'm going to leave and I'm going to send this Spirit. You're going to do greater works than I did. Go back and tell my 18-year-old self or my 20-year-old self and my path what you got. Because there was times when I was younger, you know what, we didn't have a lot of money. We couldn't afford a magazine that showed who the Forbes 5 free catalogs. I'd use those areas in your life now to make you better. Mm-hmm. You know, especially as a man, I know finances is hard. Like in those moments, you know, that's when they want to sign up for everything at school that requires, you know, new shoes. You're like, well, that's exactly how much the light bill is. So it's either keep the lights on or you go into the zoo. Guess what? I'll show you a picture of a monkey on a TV. You can watch that. Fighter, it challenges you. It attacks you. How about somebody else? Anybody else got anything like? Is that when you let him drive everywhere and mean to stay at home? we build off of brokenness. You know, we build off of brokenness, and is because when everything's going good and going easy, I mean, we're in a thankful state, or at least we should be in a thankful state, and lift us up. So, I mean, we have a few more minutes, a little more time. Well, I guess we actually got 15 minutes because I think we're supposed to go to 8 now on Wednesday night so the kids can practice, learn their lines. So, anybody else? Iron. Because, you know, so many times you get to listen to Pastor West, Pastor Aaron, myself up here, and we have a lot of stories about our life. Because it's not because we're selfish or gloatful. It's just because we know where we came from, what God has done from us. And if I knew more of your story, I'd preach more on your story too. But I don't know everything about you sometimes. Because, I mean, you get to hear, you know, you may look at, you know, something like, well, Steve, you're a pastor. Your story. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Was making hoops a little further than I thought she could throw it, but that girl was putting on a show. Yeah. That. Mm, yeah. 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 Yep. And why, you know, uh, why those things, you know, but, you know, God knows exactly what we need and when we need it. You're going to answer. I may not know down here, but up there, going to happen. And, there's questions that are just flat out awesome and can handle that. And then he knew one day that Wes and Krista was looking. I mean, every time I see her, for me, I just automatically start smiling because that girl is probably one of the happiest. Hey, she's in a wheelchair. She may have a disability. She doesn't see herself like that. I mean, when I talk to Nala and I see her, the attitude I get from her, she sees herself as God sees her. And that, I would almost guarantee you ask her anything right now, and there is nothing in her mind she cannot do. And instill that in their children. But you guys did. You guys did. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. You know, and it's in those moments that like that most of us find God here for you guys. The healthy. If you're well, there is moments and things that touch the heart of God. And let me tell you what will pull on the heartstrings of God. I mean, Jesus Christ, when he was walking there, he gave us a perfect to be around him. They just want to be near him. But the church folk, they decide, hey, you become like one of these, you're not going to see the kingdom of heaven. It's that childlike faith. It's you can almost tell those kids anything. And because your mom and because your dad, they're going to believe you. You are their heroes. You as a mother hey, they can do no wrong. My dad can do no wrong. They're like, I can do better. they grow out of it at times. But when they're young, and that's why Jesus said, hey, when you have childlike faith, unless don't pray like the heathen do and the Pharisees and just stand up in front of everybody, oh, look at me and woe is me. But when you find what we said, when you find yourself, find that closet, get sincere. To get to God, you're in trouble. If your prayer has to bounce off somebody else's waving hands to get up there, but now everybody's going everybody time I seem like this, Steve, they're going get in the prayer to heaven. But if your prayer has to bounce through the entire church to get to heaven, if you have to try to help it get there, that prayer is not very. I just really feel, because it's us here tonight, but what God is doing with this church, and let me tell you, God just crying when they found out this was a church now, coming in here and just pouring their guts out to us about, they never come back. Some of them, God met them here, and they remember that. So what God is going to do, not just because it's us, but because, and God has given us such a great core of people to realize, hey, you know what? We're all in different places, but we're all going to the same place, and we're going to make it there together. What God's going to send us people with children with disabilities that understand, and Sister Eric's going to be there, look, let me tell you what God did for me. He's going to use those things God's going to do. I have a great idea, but I don't think my idea is big enough. And so what we are going through, and kind of what we're talking about I think it's going to become pretty prevalent in the near future, because God's work and God's Spirit is about to be poured out. But I don't know if you've noticed a shift in the last year, that there's people that you would never think about standing up and saying, hey, enough's enough. You've attacked my God. You get in songs like you would never listen to, and now they're singing gospel music and getting on tracks just to get that word out, saying, you know what, I may act like this over here, but because God's coming back. So, but that's all I got tonight. I'm out of time. So before we leave, let's all stand. We're going to pray. Plenty, pass them out everywhere you go. Let's pack this place out Sunday. Amen. It's going to be amazing. Pastor West, Dad's here. 7, 12, or 7, 8. We got a bunch of people going to be messing up all night, but if it still is, we'll dunk you too. You and your phone. In my life, God. Lord, although I don't understand, I do. But Lord, I pray tonight that you let God, Lord, and we want to be a light that shines tonight, God. Lord, let your favor and blessings be upon us as we go throughout our week. Lord, go talk to somebody.